came across this tweet from David Wright. I believe he is a some type of reporter for CNN about the total amount of TV ads that have been spent by the Democratic candidates that are running for the Democratic nomination for president, and it's pretty alarming how much the two billionaires in the race, that being Michael Bloomberg and Steyer, have spent on these TV ads to try to bump up their numbers. So let's take a look. Bloomberg has spent a whopping $153.1 million on TV ads up until, I believe this tweet was yesterday, so up until January 9th. Steyer, 116.5 million, and then the non-billionaire candidates, Bernie Sanders' campaign 11.7, Buttigieg 11.4, Yang 7.3, Warren 3.7, Biden 3, Cloud Buttigieg 2.9, Bennett 1.1, Gabbard 1.1. I mean, you can see just the power that a wealthy oligarch like Michael Bloomberg and Steyer wield by basically able to dump unlimited amounts of money into these states with these TV ads to try to prop up their numbers, to actually try to get some support, because obviously they don't have any grassroots support, because they don't really support policies or an ideology that benefits the working people of the United States. And for Michael Bloomberg, he's not even participating in any of the Democratic debates or any of the first caucus or just general voting states, and is instead focus his strategy on the Super Tuesday states, I believe. And then Steyer, I've heard a little bit about him during like the debates, but just more kind of pablum and just running because he's able to, because he's a billionaire. If he wasn't, he doesn't have any type of real grassroots support. So he has to, just like Bloomberg, has to dump $116.5 million to get TV ads, to get his message out there, to basically just try to indoctrinate people with so much propaganda about your campaign. Then hopefully your message starts to resonate and sink in a little bit with the voters, because Bloomberg and Steyer realize that that's the only way to increase their support among the voting population, is to spend unlimited amounts of money on campaign ads to try to drive up their support that way, because they're not able to generate it through a grassroots movement like what Bernie Sanders represents, because Bernie's message resonates with people. That's why he doesn't have to do these he doesn't have to get super PAC money. He doesn't have to hold these closed door fundraisers, or these high dollar bundling fundraisers, and he doesn't have dozens of billionaires donating to his campaign, because his message resonates with the working class of the United States. And so that's why he has the most individual, unique campaign contributions in history, and he's just going to keep setting all of these campaign records, because people see that he's the real deal. He's genuine, and he's going to support policies that are going to help the working people of the U.S. And I mean, Bloomberg was a Republican, for God's sakes, for most of his life, and he was horrible as a mayor of New York City. Just look at stop and frisk for one example, and what didn't really implement any type of real progressive agenda as mayor. And he's just running to protect his corporate interests. I think he's really scared of a Bernie Sanders presidency, because he realized his power would be diminished somewhat as a wealthy oligarch if Sanders was in the White House, and the movement that he represents would be obviously emboldened by that. And kind of the same thing with Steyer. I mean, I prefer him a little bit over Michael Bloomberg. But it's just the same. We need public financing of all elections, both local, state, and federal, because it's just an indictment of our system that these two billionaires are able to dump hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars into their campaigns, and just artificially finance them in order to generate support, when we need, like I said, public financing of all elections. We need to get rid of super PACs. We need to end Citizens United public financing of all elections. People should only be able to donate, a certain amount. No super PACs, no closed door fundraising, public financing of all elections. We could even make it where, the government, gives the people, let's say, $50 or $100, and they get to decide, what candidate to use that on for a presidential election or a local election or whatnot. So, I mean, that would be a way to, empower people even more. The government would be giving you a small amount of money, and then you go out and donate that to the publicly financed campaign of your choosing. But, we see the billionaire class is getting scared. I just made a video, you can go check it out, about a billionaire hedge fund or investment manager who is saying that they're very worried about the chances of Bernie getting the Democratic nominee and then beating Trump. And then so we see and then just with this evidence of how much Bloomberg and Steyer are spending. I think, like I said, Bloomberg is definitely worried about protecting his class interest. I think Steyer does have some, I don't know, a better, he has a slightly better message than Bloomberg, but it still comes across as so shady and corrupt that you are having to buy your support because you're this entitled billionaire who has all this wealth and resources, when compared to, let's say, the Sanders campaign, which is supported by 5 million plus individual campaign contributions. So we just see the contrast. Bloomberg, Steyer, clearly representative of the billionaire class. They are part of it, and they would govern to protect those interests, as opposed to a Sanders administration who would govern to benefit the working people of the U.S. and the United States. So let's keep making those small dollar donations, canvassing, making calls, talking to family and friends. Let's do everything we can to make sure Bernie is the nominee, and then getting him across the finish line to defeat Donald Trump. Peace, peace.